Hey, before we get into today's Friday News Roundup, I have a favor to ask. CityCast is running its annual listener survey, and we need to hear from you. You can find it at citycast.fm/survey, and it takes just 7 minutes to complete. And then you'll be eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and some CityCast Philly swag. Again, it's at citycast.fm/survey. Thanks. Today on CityCast Philly, it's Friday, which means we're rounding up the biggest news stories around Philly. We've got the reactions from New Jersey Shore officials after a violent Memorial Day weekend. Where do all the fallen trees go? And weird stuff we saw on social media. It's Friday, May 31st. I'm Trinae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week is OJ Spivey, sports correspondent at the Philadelphia Tribune. Good to see you again, OJ.
Always great to be on with you, Trinae. Thank you.
Yes. And Alan Massenberg, comedian and writer. Glad to have you back on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Yes. So before we get into some of the news happening in and around Philly, last weekend was Memorial Day weekend, which some call, the unofficial start of the summer. But since tomorrow is June 1st, I'm curious, as Philadelphians, what signifies summer for you?
Crime. Nothing more than crime.
Oh,
crime
like,
spikes in the summer.
Right. Oh, God.
And more white pants. People wear white pants. It's when it's like, okay, it's really summer now. I'm seeing a lot of white pants.
Oh, yeah. They get the linen suits out, get them ironed up, ready to go to the Dell Music Center. OJ, what about for you? What signifies summer for you?
Well, a couple of things. Just to piggyback on what Alan said, he talked about crime, but it's sort of like a Philly thing where the weather gets warm, people just start to act up or just act out, or how we say, maybe our parents say, people start to smell themselves. It's really the official time to be, quote unquote, outside. And also, too, anytime you want to talk about summer, and of course, it's Philadelphia, I think of summertime, of course, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. It's more of like a national. Yes, it is more like a national anthem for summertime. I know some people don't like the song, but for me, and being a West Philly native as well, it always resonates with me. So, and yes, I do have clothing for all the white parties and everything. So bring it on.
For me, it's the revving of a dirt bike. The jingle of the ice cream truck and the blasting of the music. That's what signifies summer for me in Philly.
Yeah. And the block parties.
Yes.
Well, not only the block parties, Alan, but trying to navigate through the block parties as you drive through the city. Every other block is blocked off on a Saturday afternoon. So if you're coming more so in town, or if you're coming in the hood, so to speak, to see family and everything, you have to make all these detours. And, you try not to get mad because, you're going to be part of the block party too, at some point. But, it's still kind of like bittersweet when you have to navigate through all the blocks when they're cautioned off.
Right. All right, let's get into some of the news of the week. Speaking of summer, a lot of people in the city and in our area, they go down to the shore. For folks who are new to the city, when I say shore, it's in a singular sense, but I mean people leave the city and go to New Jersey. Now, the shore could be a number of towns along the Atlantic coast. Do y'all go down to the shore during the summer?
Well, I'm more of a Ocean City, Maryland guy. I'm more of a Delaware Beach guy. But one thing you have to say before you go to the Jersey Shore, especially if you're new to the city, we don't say Atlantic City. We say Atlantic City. And we don't say Wildwood. We just say Wildwood.
Yes.
So that's the first two rules about going to the Jersey Shore.
Alan, do you go to the Jersey Shore?
Yeah, my answer was the exact same thing. I feel like I'm more of a Rehoboth Beach, Delaware kind of guy. I think that because I grew up here, so it's kind of like I've been at Jersey Shore so much. Like I kind of go away from it now. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
I've done the Wildwood, Ocean City, AC. I've done all of that a million times. You know, so it's like I do venture to the south now to go to Ocean City as well. You know what I mean? So
Wildwood, like growing up, Wildwood was like Wildwood. Like as a teenager, it was like, what? We're going down to Wildwood. So it's like a hot spot for like the youngsters. But I feel like now as an adult, like I need peace.
You kind
I
of
need
outgrow
quiet.
you kind of
Yeah.
outgrow the Jersey Shore as you get older, as you mature, as you get some sense of life, so to speak. You kind of outgrow it. But yeah, if you're a teenager or you're just graduating high school or something of that nature, it was one of the cool places to be, just to hang out. And of course, if you get old enough to go to Atlantic City for a show for the weekend, but after a while, you got to outgrow it.
Yeah, my
yeah,
21st birthday was in AC.
There you
Like
go.
we had a good old time. But speaking of just what goes down at the shore, this weekend there was big news that came out on Saturday night. A 15-year-old boy was stabbed by an unknown suspect around 9:12 in Ocean City, New Jersey, and that's according to the Enquirer. And this all kind of happened near a really popular amusement pier. And police said that the teen was sent to an area hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. Because of that, all hell broke loose, and there were videos circulating on social media of crowds of people running off the boardwalk, police running through these crowds. It was just like chaos. Did y'all see these videos?
yeah. This is why OJ said when you mature out of that area because the kids are crazy down out there. You know what I mean? Yeah, I seen the videos. I seen a lot of. So it's interesting. They were on the shore, but I seen a lot of people wearing hoodies. I don't go anywhere where people don't respect the temperature. You know what I mean? Because these kids be wearing hoodies and it be hot outside. I'm not going there.
I don't know why they do that. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't explain it. I have a
My son does
teenager.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a teenager. She'll wear a hoodie, we'll get to go out somewhere and it's 80 degrees outside. She comes outside with a hoodie. I'm like, but
I'd be like,
anyway,
"Are you cold?" They'd be like, "Yup." I'm like, "I know you lying."
there you go. And I think another aspect of the Jersey Shore, I think teens know that they can gather in places like that. And you got to understand, these are small towns. So it's not a big metropolis like Philadelphia or New York, where you'll be able to see a heavy police presence. And I think they just tend to take advantage of that because they know for the most part that those small shore towns don't have the resources to kind of, keep everything at bay.
The irony of this is that the Cape May County town is known as America's greatest family resort.
Really?
And yet there was civil unrest that happened. Okay, so I also read in the Enquirer that there's actually curfews in place at 8 p.m. So there's an 8 p.m. beach curfew. There's an 8 p.m. ban on backpacks on the boardwalk. And there is an overall 11 p.m. curfew. Do y'all think that curfews are effective?
I think they are effective because I remember when I was a teen, I got picked up for curfew one time, so I know it works.
Ooh, by who? By your parents or the police?
The police.
Oh, snap. What happened?
I was out in the county, doing something I shouldn't have been doing. It was late at night. They picked me up, drove me back to the city, and just dropped me off at home. Like I look like the best snitch in the world. Yeah, I just got dropped right off by the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is really like that, especially when you get into the counties. But my only question is, again, the shore towns, even though they're small, the beaches themselves, the boardwalks, they're so dense.
Mhm.
So, and there's so many entrances. So how do you actually enforce that? So again, what you saw in the videos, they're going to be outnumbered no matter what. So I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how you enforce it.
And it wasn't just the stabbing. Over the weekend, it was also reported that there were multiple fights along the Jersey Shore and the shutdown of the Wildwood Boardwalk on Sunday night because of, quote, civil unrest. And that was according to officials. And so there were large crowds of teens on the boardwalks. Officials, they said, we are fed up from teenagers' bad behavior. And they said, listen, don't try to ruin summer for us this year. And that was according to the Enquirer. Does this change what you think about the shore or change plans for the summer vacations?
I mean, for me, I just think its strength is what I kind of already knew. You know what I mean? It's not somewhere that I need to be. You know, I don't go, like I said, I also have a teenage daughter. So it's like, I don't go places that she hangs out because it's not
Does
places
she want
that
to go to the shore?
she doesn't want to go there. She doesn't like, not, I mean, because I'm not there. She wants to go where the money's going to be at.
Right.
So I can buy the funnel cakes and stuff. Yeah, but I think it just strength is kind of what I already knew. Like, it's just a crazy place, and yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. And, with me having a teenage daughter as well, it reinforces again what Alan said. It reinforces that you may not want your child there. And I think it's a great family, a great family atmosphere if you're just going there for the day. But once the sun goes down, it's probably not a place where you want to have your team because again, with all the chaos that you saw, you don't want to see anybody get stabbed. You don't want to see anybody get, stampeded over. And again, it's not a place that, I would want to see my child there.
All right. You can read more about this story by checking out the links in our show notes. More news of the week after the break. All right, shifting gears. The next story, I actually found this from Philly Voice. So the city has a new program where they take trees that have fallen because maybe of a bad storm or, natural decay, wear and tear, and they're turning the tree into building material at a new lumber yard in Fairmount Park. And according to Parks and Recreation officials, this upcycling initiative is known as the Philadelphia Reforestation Hub, and it'll create jobs and it'll be a part of the city's overall plan to divert over 90% of its waste from landfills by 2035. Looking at the calendar, wow, that's coming up. What do y'all think about this program? So they're taking trees that have fallen and turning it into building material.
That sounded like a good idea to me. I mean, I don't have no complaints from you. You want to recycle? That's good. I mean, trees fall. I mean, you just don't want to get to the point where you see people just knocking over trees. Like, all right, we need to get some, knock over this tree. We need some building materials, and we can't breathe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea given that, if you go to one of the home improvement stores and, you're trying to do some work in your home or, it's your job as a contractor and everything, building materials are expensive. So anytime you can recycle or you can, manufacture building materials, wood, so to speak, so the average person can get it, I think it's a great thing. And listen, you know, Al and I were West Philly natives and everything. I remember a time where, you would have old trees and they would come out of their roots. And, there was a time that you didn't just want to get it in your pipes or you didn't want to have any branches growing in your home. So I think that's great for the environment to see if there are trees that are falling or trees that are dying that we can recycle them in some type of way.
One thing I also saw in the article is that they're going to take 15% of these proceeds from the lumber that's sold and is going to go back into this other program called Tree Philly. And they help to plant new trees and expand the city's tree canopy. So I remember, early in the beginning of the episode, I said, what signifies summer for you? And you said crime. And it's because it's hot and we don't have a lot of trees. So that's what I'm excited to see. I want more trees to be planted in and around the city.
Right. And growing up, you saw a lot more trees. I'm Gen X, so growing up basically in the 80s, you saw a lot more trees on blocks, and you don't see that anymore with all this development, with all of, this gentrification. A lot of trees that have disappeared. And
Yeah.
it's a good thing that they are giving away trees now because, again, trees back in the day, they weren't the best trees to have on your block because, again, they would, get into your plumbing. They would get into your home, the roots and everything. So they figure out the right type of trees to plant on a city block.
Are there neighborhoods that come to mind that could really use more trees?
I could tell you, I mean, you could put just about every neighborhood turn as far as who needs more trees, but I could tell you the places where we would go that we knew there were more trees, places where we weren't necessarily welcome, like Chestnut Hill, which is the highest point in Philadelphia, is actually the coolest point in Philadelphia. Of course, we would try to go to the parks, whether it be Fairmount Park, Cobbs Creek, etc. Because, if the sun was just beaming in your home and you didn't have air conditioning, you had to go someplace where there were trees.
So trees help save money too then, because then you don't have to pay when it comes
More
to like
efficient.
energy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, when I'm driving all over the city, I feel like North Philly could use more trees.
For sure.
Like the entirety of North Philly.
You can go up and down Broad Street, North Broad Street, and you can tell that they need more trees.
All right. Well, anyway, they're recycling these trees. The final segment of this Friday News Roundup, I want to talk about the weird stuff we have seen on social media this week. I'll start. One of my favorite pages to just keep scrolling on Instagram is Word to the Wise. Do y'all know about this Instagram page? WTTW?
Unfamiliar.
A little bit.
Okay. Well, they will post random, outrageous stuff that happens in our beautiful city. And there was a video of people driving on dirt bikes on the sidewalks between 18th and Walnut Street. So this is like in Rittenhouse Square. And someone even popped a wheelie.
On the sidewalk. On the fucking sidewalk. What the fuck? What the fuck? God damn it. On the sidewalk.
They're popping wheelies. Okay, I'm just trying to get y'all to understand this, okay? You know that beautiful restaurant I think it's called Park? It's like a French restaurant. Across the street, there's the AKA restaurant, the old Barnes and Noble on the other corner. It's like a calm, random evening, and someone is popping a wheelie on a dirt bike on the sidewalk. This is super dangerous and completely illegal. Like, you cannot ride a motor vehicle on a sidewalk. But yet, that's what Philly does.
Well, I say take it one step further. Rittenhouse Square is right there. Why don't you just ride in the park? You have more rooms, a little more open. I know everybody's sitting on the benches or, sitting on the rails and everything. Hey, take it one step further. Pop the wheelies in there.
Popping a wheelie in Rittenhouse Square Park.
That would be quite a sight.
Wild. Like, there's not much space. Like, I can't even, people, read books and take walks and, clear their mind. Then all of a sudden you hear the revving of an engine, fly through that. And then Rittenhouse is also in that, weird space where it's a one-way around it. Wild stuff.
It's green space, though. It's terrain. That's where the bikes belong. So you might as well.
Well, it's a lot of trees in Rittenhouse Park.
No lack of trees in Rittenhouse Square.
But it's not keeping people at bay. It's not keeping people calm. Any other weird stuff y'all saw on social media this week?
Well, a couple of things. I wouldn't say it's necessarily weird. I would say it's more so outlandish, and I'm a bit jealous. It's prom season, right? So all of the proms that you see, all of the props, it's either looking like a scene from Bridgerton or it's looking like a scene from ancient Egypt. And, you see horses, you see goats, and I'd be like, where was all this when I went on my prom? And,
let's talk about it. These prom send-offs are getting elaborate. I have a 12-year-old. You have a high school graduate. So did you go all out for her prom?
Well, she's a pretty practical girl. And all she asked for was to go to the prom in style. And you know what she did? She ordered a Uber Black. So she went in a big SUV and just said, I'm just worried about my arrival. I just want to step out in style and then y'all can come pick me up. I don't need all that other stuff, Dad. So just let me go in style and I'm good with it. And hey, it saved me money. So no complaints here.
I'm actually terrified of prom send-offs because I'm like, I hope my kids are basic as fuck because I cannot finance or what do I do? Do I use Afterpay or whatever those payment plans are just to pay for the prom send-off party? It's wild.
Trinae, I saw one prom send-off and I believe it was estimated at $27,000.
Ooh. Oh,
27 grand.
Why?
Do y'all remember when Saul made the whole North Philly turn into like a beach for her son's prom? You remember that?
Yes, that was
She put
it was
sand
like
and camels and
an
all that.
Arabian
White sand
night,
beaches,
like
right?
camels, and yeah, she's like I feel like she kind of started off
Yeah, she
the
set the
prom
standard.
madness. Yeah,
Right. Good old Saul.
Good old Saul. That was OJ Spivey, sports correspondent at the Philadelphia Tribune, and Alan Massenberg, comedian and writer. Thank you both so much for talking about these news topics this week with me.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate you every time. I do.
Thank you, Trinae. Always a pleasure.
It's time for the tip of the week, where we share a life hack for living in Philly. Speaking of trees, if you want to get one planted on your block, there's actually a collaboration with the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society and the Pennsylvania Department of Conservation and Natural Resources. And the best part, this is all free. PHS will help you navigate tree permits, planting a tree on the sidewalk, and help you get the tree to your neighborhood. Check out the PHS website to apply. They accept applications throughout the year and prioritize requests in communities with fewer trees, high temperatures, and other environmental justice concerns. We'll have the link to this application in our show notes. If you have a tip of the week, we'd love to hear from you too. Call or text us at 215-259-8170. Oh, and just one more thing. I wanted to let you know about a new narrative series from our colleagues over at CityCast Denver called Lauren Boebert Can't Lose. It's about the controversial Colorado Congresswoman, and over the next month leading up to her make or break primary in June, they'll be releasing episodes on a dedicated feed every Wednesday. Through original reporting, speaking with friends, rivals, supporters, detractors, and even Boebert herself, the series explores her meteoric rise, most scandalous moments, and how she exploded onto the scene with attention-grabbing antics and her fascinating and troubling place in our political culture. Check it out if you're a fan of CityCast. They're even dropping an episode about her background running a gun-themed restaurant in a town literally called Rifle in our feed tomorrow. You can find the Lauren Boebert Can't Lose series wherever you get your podcast. We'll have a link in our show notes. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our producers are Abby Fritz and Lizzie Goldsmith. Our Hey Philly newsletter editors are Asha Prahar and Natalia Aldana. And our host is me, Trinae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from All the Kimonos and James Weldon. If you enjoyed this week of episodes, please tell a friend, tell your neighbor, tell your coworker, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Philly. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend and be safe, y'all. Bye.